Hello, this is Smilerflips, and welcome back to another episode of Captain Toad. So in this episode, we are going to do a review, and I'm just going to have a bit of a mess around in the Mummy Me Maze Forever. I'm not going to mainly focus on getting as high as I can, I'm just going to focus on trying to get up to the amount of lives I need. I might try and get to the top, I might not. So, the special episode... first of all, special episode is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch version of Captain Toad. Therefore, if you have got the game on the Wii U, you will not be able to purchase it. Well, you wouldn't be able to purchase it now anyway because the eShop's down, but even when the game was exclusive to the Wii U, the special episode was not created until the Nintendo Switch port. So, the bunch of levels that are in it are decent. Though they are not all original, some are reused. They reuse elements that are pretty decent in the selection that they have. So I'm gonna just talk level by level, scenes as I can. So the first level is that one that we finished the previous episode doing, which is the one that's all about throwing the keys over. So with that one, it's about getting to the top of the tower, which is quite a decent objective. You're easy to see where it is. So I think as an introduction level, it is decent. So then the second one. So if you remember the intros of the different, chapters of the game. So the first two parts of the story where the bird kidnapped a toad in each one. Well, it's that island. I've not seen any differences to how it was originally in the original version of the game. But just because I haven't seen any changes does not mean that that's bad. It just means that the level is just being reused. But with the whole finding the crowns and jewels and that, at least it puts that level to use. So then the next one is the ghost hunt in the intro for that. The third one. So it's the same. It's good that they are remixing levels that didn't really have a purpose originally. Especially in the sense of that, where it had no actual purpose other than as a way to set up the game's story. So I think it's decent that they have reused levels that would not be usually major levels. I am glad that where the gold mushrooms are is either where crowns have been hidden or where the or where gems were, as it rewards players who actually did do the level in the base game, or did it in bonus and found every single one of the elements they needed. We got the pickaxe. So it gave us all the elements that we would have needed to 100% complete that part of the game. Then after that, Goomba Galleon. So Goomba Galleon is one of those levels where it has a decent concept in the sense that you want to try to collect. You need to basically find a pickaxe to simply lower a boat so that you can then use bullet bills to smash other blocks in order to get onto the top of the boat, which is a decent concept, and it's used really well. Like, it's not my favourite level in the game, just because, yeah, it's not the best. Then you've got the touchstone level from book number 1, just basically the same level except you're hunting for crowns. Then you've got some other levels which I can't even remember. I know you've got that Star Wheel thing where you have to do it like a maze, where the time trial on that was a nightmare until I found out the exact route we needed to do. So we had that one. Then we had the Wandering Woods one where you had to take no damage. That was one of the most difficult levels in this game. But at least we beat it. Then you had Multivator Mayhem reused. You had the Sky Panel one. Sky Panel was a brand new level where your whole goal would just be to get past all the sky panels and avoid getting hit by the spike ball things that the enemies were throwing about, which was well used as a challenging level that would cause you to have to think about like where to go and time it perfectly. Like, that was a decent level. Then we had stuff like the train level. The train level was expected because it's been in every single episode of the adventures. The minecart one, reusing one of the most difficult levels in the base game, but instead of you actually doing the actual level the way it was originally designed, instead of going up, you would be going down, but on a minecart, throwing turnips at collecting coins and also gems, which is a decent way of remixing such a level, which both makes it feel somewhat different, but it's also recognisable, which is another good level. What else? So the boss battle. So instead of fighting Wingo, you fight Wingo and basically a double cherry version of him, where the two of them work together to try and kill Toad, basically, and it's quite clever. Because, like, one could be throwing turnips, so you need to dodge the turnips, while the other one's trying to push you off the stage using the wind. Which is quite a good concept for a boss. What other ones have we got in that? So we've also had the maze, which I'm going to get to at the end. I'm trying to remember. So then we had that up and down block thing, which wasn't really much. It's just a level that I can randomly just remember. Doesn't mean it's a decent level, just means it's one that I remember from it. Then you had the up and down terrace level all over again, where you would simply do the exact same thing as you would in the standard version, just with the crowns that you had to get. Which, if you played Odyssey, it's basically doing multi-moons on that. So where you have to collect 5 of them in total in order to get your star or moon. What else was there that was new? The thing with it is it's just the fact that all the new stages felt like they were very few and far between. It was more of a remix of already existing levels from the base game, which there's no problem with. It's fine, but if you were paying, like, I don't know how much the DLC was because I bought it a while ago, but if you're paying for a DLC, you expect new content, not just recycled versions of prior content that you have already experienced in the series previously. So something like the so something you've already done, you don't really want to have that in like a paid for DLC. So that's not very good. Like, once I've finished what I'm doing on here, and then you've got probably the most difficult level in the pack, in the sense of having to focus a lot, is Chaos at Grand Labyrinth, which is pretty much just the Mummy Maze, hence why I'm playing this one. Which, Chaos at Grand Labyrinth is not as difficult as you would think, but it is one of the most difficult levels in Captain Toad, in my opinion. Just because you have to not only make sure that you get through it, but all the other Toads get through it as well, in order to get the special objective. So you get about 2-3 hours extra if you're trying to, like, complete it. But you'd only get about an hour and a half, 2 hours if you weren't trying to 100% it. So if you're wanting to get the game and 100% it, it's not that long of a campaign, so it's up to you whether you would decide to purchase the DLC or purchase another game. So, just before I get the crown again in this one, I'm just going to Google how much Captain Toad's special episode is, just so that I know how much would have been spent. Because the thing is, I want to So for it being about £6, I think the DLC is pretty decent, but it just lacks new and original levels because it mainly just uses like level designs that you've already done. I can't believe I've just done Mummy Maze in one attempt. The hardest level in the base game, and I've completed it the first time around. So, do I recommend getting Special Episode? I actually would. As, even though you've not got much of, like, new levels in here. Because that's a repeat, that's a repeat, that's a repeat, that's new, that's a repeat, that's a repeat, that's new. Probably gonna count how many new ones there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've only really got 6 new levels in the pack. So that's about £1 per level, which I'm glad that they've got remixes of previous levels that you've already explored once. But I would prefer them to simply just be like, okay, this is like what you're gonna get for £6. Would you like to buy more, would you like to buy more on the, would you like to buy more levels? That's what it should have said, because the thing is with Special Episode, even though it is quite a decent collection of levels, I do think it lacks the narrative part. Like, if they had put, like, at the beginning of it, when you first selected it, a cutscene where Toad and Toadette had a map with a Super Crown on. And to get there, they had to go to all these different destinations, some which they've already visited and some that they haven't seen. And on the map it like hinted at what each level would be as a remix. Then it would be a lot better in the sense of a DLC, because even though you're not collecting stars and collecting crowns instead, I do think that with all the crowns that you collect, and at the end, your main reward is literally the Super Crown from Super Mario Bros. On the Deluxe, and it doesn't even show you that crown, it just shows you a standard crown. I think that it doesn't reward you for completing it enough. Like, I'm gonna run Chaos in the Grand Labyrinth as well in this episode, just so that we've done both Mummy Maids. If I fail it, then I fail it. I'm not bothered. I'm not gonna go for all the toads, I'm just gonna go for getting through it. I'm not bothered about getting everything that I can. So with this level, I think it's good that they reused the concept of a Mummy Maze, and I do hope when they eventually get around to making another main Captain Toad game, as they probably will, because it's a game that is really good, and we know that Nintendo like to experiment with new games and that, and with the fact that Captain Toad is a fairly new series that Nintendo has released, especially with it coming out of the Wii U and getting a port. Like, yeah, you could say that Toad Wii U special episode makes up for it because it's got new levels and stuff, but it's not like a new Captain Toad would be, where you'd be able to, like, explore new, like, levels. Like, if you were to have another Captain Toad game where instead of just simply being Captain Toad on the adventures, instead it was like Captain Toad's on an adventure and it's got Bowser and stuff in it. Because the thing is even though it's a good game, it feels somewhat disconnected from the rest of the series, in a way. Like, if you remember at the end of Galaxy, if you've ever played that, and you've done the 100% completion bit, there's a cutscene at the end where you talk to Captain Toad, who says that they've been promoted to Royal Guards. So, because he becomes Guard of the Mushroom Kingdom, you would think that that what they should do is, in my opinion, is the next Mario game is, I think that they should have like a Captain Toad adventure game to release like the year before to promote it, being like, okay, this is where we're going. Here's Captain Toad, because if they use Captain Toad, for example, to promote the next big Mario, that can cause excitement for new, for people who have never played a Mario before, who may have purchased Captain Toad, wanting to get into the Mario series as their first Mario franchise game on a new console. Like, if they had this and the next Mario game as the launch title for the next console, which I personally don't think will be Switch 2, but we'll refer to it as Switch 2 in this, is I think what they would do is they would release both the Captain Toad game as well as the next 3D Mario, and have it so Captain Toad leads into the next 3D Mario. As if they did that, and had it... that's fine. We'll just leave that. We'll just leave that course now. Just because I just wanted to have a bit of a laugh, see how far I could get. So now we're just going to have to go and do this one again. So I personally think that it would be best for the Mario series if they were to have Captain Toad somewhat promote the next Mario game. So even if the end of the Switch's lineup, they were wanting to get a game, and they were like, okay, what to make? And they made Captain Toad as the final Switch game to promote the Mario game on the next console, then it would be like, okay, you have completed this game, but we challenge you to complete next game in the series being like Mario Odyssey 2. I'm gonna say Mario Odyssey because of that. So I personally think that they should continue Captain Toad on to onto another console. Because if they were to make Captain Toad as like a prequel to each of the 3D Marios going on from the next one, then that would be something that would be really good for like new players to the series. I purposely did that just because we're getting 99 lives. And because it's a mini game as well. There we go. So, I want to see in the next Captain Toad, Bowser included, new exclusive bosses, just because this game has only ever had 2 bosses in it, as well as a much more story-driven game, which promotes the next game in the Mario series. So, if they finished off Nintendo Switch's life cycle with Captain Toad number 2, I would not be bothered about that, because I personally think that finishing off the life cycle of one console with a decent game is all that needs to be done. So, thanks for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next series. Bye!